Isakin had murdered his girlfriend and fried her flesh in a frying pan before eating it, making him a cannibal. A psychiatric evaluation showed that Isakin was not mentally sane during the time of the murder and he was sentenced to psychiatric care. In this psychiatric facility, Isakin soon met a woman who he fell in love with. This woman is known as Michelle Gustafsson, but also known in the Swedish media as the Vampire Woman. So hello everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Elin and on this channel I cover true crime cases that have occurred in the Nordic countries. The content warnings are basically same as in part 1. The video might include disturbing details, drug abuse, domestic violence, mental problems and suicide as well as cannibalism. This video is part 2 of the video that came out before this, so if you have not watched that video, I recommend you go watch that one before you watch this case. I will link part 1 in the description, and with that being said, now let's get into the case that happened in Sweden. Michelle Gustafsson was born in 1988 and she was described as different straight from her childhood as she was both reserved and hot-tempered. She could sometimes get aggressive and even black out, and she always felt a little bit different from everybody else in her class, like she did not fit in. Michelle had a hard time both in school and at home, and when she was 12 years old, her parents got divorced. After that, Michelle lived with her father and brother, and her father had alcoholic problems but would also physically abuse the children regularly. He would hit them, and sometimes the police were called to their home, and to be honest, I'm not sure why the kids were not taken away from him because Michelle ended up living at his place until she was 18, so the abuse just continued and nothing was ever done about it. Michelle had from time to time felt a strong hate towards her father, so when she turned 18, she moved to her mother's home. Michelle has later stated that it was hard living with her dad and she blames him completely for her bad upbringing since he basically destroyed her life. She has also claimed that she was many times thinking about killing her own father, and one time she was standing outside his window waiting for him to fall asleep. She would then sneak into his bedroom through the window and torture and kill him while playing a song that she had written. But every time that she had planned to kill him, there always came something in the way of this. So she really had full-blown plans to kill her father, and considering what ended up happening, he's lucky that he's alive, to be honest. Anyway, Michelle was struggling mentally throughout her life, and at the age of 14, she was recommended to be put in a psychiatric facility. But her mom did not want this, and considering what ended up happening, of course it makes me wonder if this could have all been prevented in case she would have gotten the care that she needed. Around this time, Michelle also got the diagnosis borderline personality disorder, and she also got medication for this. Borderline personality disorder is a mental illness that impacts a person's ability to regulate their own emotions. This loss of control can increase impulsivity, affect how a person feels about themselves, and negatively impact their relationships with others. People with borderline personality disorder often have a strong fear of abandonment, an intense anger and strong mood swings, unstable relationships, and suicide behavior or self-harm. I also want to add that this disorder is not a reason for what she ends up doing in this case, and many people with borderline do not commit violent crimes whatsoever, so it's not an excuse, is what I'm saying. Michelle was also suffering from severe ADHD, but she did get medication for this and she also handled it well as she took her medications regularly. As a teenager, Michelle had also hallucinated and seen an angry ghost-like face in the reflection from the kitchen cabinets. In this situation, she had gotten super scared and blacked out, and she had actually cut off her own knuckles and smeared the blood on the kitchen cabinet. She never told anyone about this particular hallucination, as her dad had previously made fun of her for her mental problems. Since Michelle was 16, she had been working in a loan agency in Stockholm, Sweden, and she got this work through her mom, who also worked there. She was described as being well liked and took this work seriously, and she was also very good at this job. As she got older, Michelle actually started having less contact with her mom, dad, and brother, even when she was working with her mom. She was still suffering from her mental disorders, but she took her medications and she felt like these helped her. According to notes and journals from psychiatrists, Michelle was suffering from antisocial personality disorder and also paranoia and hallucinations. Antisocial personality disorder is a very challenging personality disorder characterized by impulsive, irresponsible, and often criminal behavior. Someone with antisocial personality disorder will typically be manipulative, deceitful, and reckless and will not care for other people's feelings. They can seem charming, but they show no guilt or remorse for their wrongdoings, and they also lack empathy, ability to control their emotions, or responsibility for their actions. Psychopaths are considered to have a severe form of antisocial personality disorder, so they make a small group of the people with this diagnosis. Michelle has stated that she felt as if there was a different person inside of her who she described as an angry teacher who frequently told her that she was useless. And this teacher had actually been inside of her since she was 15 years old. Because of her mental state, Michelle was pretty much all the time keeping a knife with her, and she had also tried to commit suicide many times during her life. And I'm sorry for so much talk about mental health and her diagnosis, but I feel like it's important to describe her as a person, and she had a combination of many severe mental disorders that could have all affected her behavior and life. Anyway, Michelle spent a lot of her free time on the internet, and especially in one forum where she used the username schizopsycho. On this internet group, she posted many radical pictures, for example, holding a chainsaw and different dramatic pictures. In one of the pictures, she was posing as a vampire with blood around her mouth, and this is from where her nickname, the Vampire Woman, started. She would also write different novels and chat with people, and in this forum, she ended up meeting a young man called Anders, and they were chatting daily for around half year. He has later stated that she was very broken, sick, and obsessed with knives. On the 22nd of February 2010, Michelle was living in her own apartment with her cats and rats, and everybody who came to her apartment had to respect her animals as much as they respected her. That day, Michelle went to her workplace, and after work, she had a doctor's appointment. That night, a friend called Daniel visited her, and they had known each other for around a year. He was 24 years old and sometimes lived at her place, but they started hanging out more and more after Michelle's previous relationship ended. Michelle has described them being just friends, even if they were sometimes intimate, and she liked hanging out with him since she did not like living alone. Daniel also had a pretty rough childhood, including drugs and alcohol. He often became aggressive while drinking, and he had one time taken a knife and threatened Michelle's ex-boyfriend. And this particular night was like no other. He was drinking and started screaming at Michelle and hitting her furniture. To provoke her, he also spit towards her cat and showed her the middle finger. He became more and more aggressive, and he told Michelle that he would break her and her animals. Michelle got scared and went to the bedroom to get a knife that she had there before coming back to the sofa, hiding the knife under a pillow in her lap. She had anxiety and was scared to death, and when Daniel went to grab something from the kitchen, she thought that he had grabbed a knife. So she went to the hallway and was just standing there holding her knife, and Daniel came there, and from this moment, Michelle does not remember anything. Michelle has stated that he must have said something because she panicked and thought that she was gonna die. And once again, a warning here, I will go into some details. What actually happened when Michelle got her blackout, nobody knows, but we do know that Michelle woke up with blood all around her and Daniel's dead body beside her. He had been stabbed at least 25 times, even to his throat, lungs, and heart, and she was holding a knife, so she realized that she had done something awful. Michelle called her dad and told him that he had to come to her apartment fast, and he of course called the police as soon as he came to her apartment and saw Daniel laying dead on her bathroom floor. During the time that they were waiting for the police, Michelle texted a friend saying, "I have done something stupid," and also sent an email to her workplace telling them that she will be absent for the rest of the week. When the police came, Michelle was acting as if she was somewhere else, and she did not really show any emotions and was very apathic. Michelle was arrested, and she actually started crying that night, saying that she had killed someone that she liked. 5 months before the murder, Michelle had written a text on her blog that I feel is pretty telling, so I'm just gonna read the translated version for you. If I only had a sword walking through the train from beginning to end, cutting one after another. The throat opens and I see how it starts dripping blood from their nasty little throats. Ha ha ha, fucking freaks, did you think that you would get to come home today? Nope, today nobody will come home. Seeing that I have drops of their disgusting blood all over me. Proudly, I get out of the wagon with a smile on my mouth. The music is perfect in that situation, and my ears smile. Highest volume I have, but through my hateful music, I hear screams from the people seeing the corpses. They see the blood coming out from the doors. The panicking energy is so strong that people fall to the ground crying. That energy makes me feel calm. I feel satisfied that I have done something valuable. Damn, how good I am. I have performed, I have been good. This shirt is going up on the wall at home, I thought. Then I see my prize, my diploma, my performance every day. Mommy, mommy, I have killed you. And I don't even have anything to comment regarding that. Honestly, I just feel like it tells me all I need to know. Something interesting to mention is that on the day of Daniel's murder, Michelle had not taken her medication. In questioning, she was not showing any remorse and she was pretty much indifferent to what she had done. And this was actually something that she even admitted herself, that she did not have any emotions regarding the murder, even if Daniel was her friend and she knew that murdering was wrong. She said that she must have been guilty even if she did not remember anything from the time of the attack, only the time before and after the murder. Autopsy showed that Daniel had high levels of alcohol and medications in his system and that the attack had taken between 1 to 10 minutes. So the trial was not really unclear. Michelle admitted to the act, but she said that she acted in self-defense as she thought that Daniel was gonna kill her. The court did not really believe that this was true, and they questioned if she actually forgot what happened. And I mean, he did not really have any weapons on him, and she continued stabbing him after his death, so Daniel had most likely lost his life in the bathtub since most of the blood was found there, and Michelle had a clear physical advantage because she was holding a knife and he was drunk without any weapons on him. A mental evaluation was done, and this showed that Michelle had a severe mental illness and a hard time understanding the consequences of her actions. And she also showed absolutely no remorse for what happened that day. So she was sentenced to closed psychiatric care, and it was at this psychiatric facility that she met Isakin from part 1, and they just clicked. Michelle has described Isakin as being her type of man with tattoos and a nice personality, and they both share their interest for Satan. Isakin and Michelle ended up getting engaged after about a month together, and they had plans to one day get out of the psychiatric facility and start a piercing and tattoo studio together. And if you remember from part 1, Isakin had the exact same plan with Helle, who was his girlfriend that he murdered in part 1. So he was not very creative when it came to the mutual plans in his relationships, I guess. Michelle has stated that she never felt like this with anyone and she could even consider having a child with Isakin. Isakin and Michelle were called Sweden's most evil couple, but they later broke up and are no longer together.
Ja, det är rätt kul för att han, vi var ute i en väldigt snabbis då i regnet och ja, och vi liksom var på med ringarna och sen så fick han gå in på en gång då. Så att det var en jättesnabb förlovning då, men den är ju minnesvärd, den är ju rolig liksom. Att det var en snabbis ute i regnet och på med ringen och de var liksom lite för små så vi fick trycka på dem och... Ja, var det så? Så det är lite en rolig förlovning.
Isakin from the last case actually ended up dating a worker from the psychiatric facility in 2017, but she resigned 3 days after these news came out to the public. This worker at first claimed that the relationship was only friendship, but later changed and claimed that Isakin was actually her boyfriend. And I'm not sure how this relationship developed and what Isakin is doing today. Michelle is basically living a pretty normal and free life today, and she even got a job outside of the hospital. She was released from the psychiatric facility in 2019, so she's no longer in care and she's today a free woman. Personally, all I could think regarding the murder of Daniel is that Michelle was abused as a child by her father, who she claimed many times that she wanted to kill. So maybe when she found out about Daniel's aggression, it triggered her and he reminded her of her father. This could have made her take out her anger that she had towards her father on Daniel instead. But at the same time, maybe she just really wanted to kill someone and she felt like she had the perfect moment. I mean, her little texts literally state how much she wanted to kill someone. It's just crazy to me how two people that have committed similar murders found each other in the psychiatric facility, and when I heard about these two cases and their connection, I just knew that I had to cover this on my channel. But that's all that I have for this case, and I hope that you guys enjoyed me covering a two-part case instead of just my regular videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope that I will see you in my next case. Goodbye everyone.